We're moving on to get your paper out, get your it's fucking news. News from around the realm. We got a couple of topics tonight. This first one is something that I am not totally surprised about, but it is a little disheartening to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But Sony has reportedly produced 2 million units of PSVR2, but shipments have been declining since its launch in February of 2023, and they have halted production on additional PSVR2 units until they can figure out how the fuck to get rid of the rest of the ones that are sitting on shelves right now.
Yeah, well.
And I think part of it, Tone, is obviously the price, the cost to get into it.
Absolutely.
It's more than a PlayStation 5 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you're paying more for an add-on than the actual system itself that you have to use it with. And I feel like that's obviously a major turnoff to a lot of people, unless you're an enthusiast or you're just a tech whore like myself and you want to just try shit out. There's not a lot of people that are going to be going out and buying this thing. Now, obviously, PSVR, the first one, sold a lot better than I think anyone expected. As somebody who saw
it, it sold really well.
But PSVR2 has not really taken off. And then the other half of the equation, and it's no surprise here because it's just typically what Sony does with their niche products, just no support. Other than Horizon Call of the Mountain, the Gran Turismo 7, what was it? They added like a VR mode to it that I guess is supposed to be really good. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I heard it's like incredible.
Yeah.
And then you've got the typical Resident Evil. They've got all those games in VR, and those are great too. Those are great experiences. But by all accounts, the first-party support has just not been there. And I mean, earlier this year, Sony laid off a bunch of people. They closed down, I think it was Sony London, who did that blood game like 2 years ago on VR that was fucking awesome.
Huge.
And they were working on a VR game, and they closed that fucking studio down completely, which is a fucking shame. But, like, there's just nothing right now from first party. And now people are wondering, like, yeah, you've halted production, and you got to figure out how to move these other units that are sitting on shelves. I don't know if a price cut's going to do it. We do know that they are working on PC compatibility. By the end of the year, they're hoping to make it so PSVR 2 is compatible with PC VR games, which I do feel like will add some value to the system.
Especially with that haptic and everything.
All the haptic feedback and all the bells and whistles that come with PSVR 2, being able to use it with PC VR games.
Oh, man, that's a lot of software.
There's a lot of software over there, and I feel like that adds to the appeal, but it's still that fucking price point that's got to come down at some point.
And I feel like this is, first of all, I want to at least point out once again that it's not due to the tech itself. The tech is actually very well built.
Right.
It's a step in like even with the MetaQuest 3 being out right now, this tech, you're not going to get an experience on a PSVR headset like you're going to get everywhere else because of the haptic feedbacks. And you're getting vibrations, micro spots on your head. Even the controls are some of the best. And
it's a super immersive experience.
And somebody who loves the quests as well too. But this is a very Sony thing sometimes. Like we get these big fucking extra pieces or a handheld, and at some point we're just trudging slowly through and not putting out big first-party stuff. Tell me why in the fuck we don't have Santa Monica making a VR version where you get to play as... Can you imagine playing as Kratos and doing this to get the chains going?
I mean...
How fucking gnarly would that be?
Yeah.
Like, look at me. Like, I don't care if it's just a fucking gimmick bullshit. Like, I mean, Call of the Wild is kind of gimmicky, but it's a really good experience.
Awesome world to explore.
Yeah. Right. Like, why wouldn't you do that with fucking Kratos? Like, I'll be Kratos for a fucking day. I don't know. Like, what's up? So, it's very disheartening that, you invest in these sort of things. It's, like you said, not a cheap product to get into.
Mm-hmm.
VR is the future of gaming, regardless if you want to believe that or not. That's where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
But, I got to wonder, like, where is all this coming from? Well, let's look at the reality right now. Since the pandemic specifically, people don't have the extra expenditures.
Right.
So now you're asking people to also, even though the PS5 is selling well now, people are still getting caught up to it. So if they just bought a PS5 last year, they're not going to spend $600 this year on a fucking add-on.
Right.
Especially
if there's any truth to the rumor, and it sounds like there is a lot of truth to it. If there's a new PS5 Pro coming out, if you add that to the market, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be more people going to be looking at getting a PS5 Pro than thinking, okay, I think I'm ready to add on a PSVR 2.
And then to boot on all of that, so people don't have the money, you got an expensive piece of hardware to add on.
Right.
You don't have any fucking software, and you haven't put out fucking software good enough to warrant some of that unless you're tech whores who love VR.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's not to say there aren't great games on PSVR2. There are great games, even games that are come from like outside third party. So I'm telling you, man, the Red Matter games, fucking incredible games. Synopsis, fucking incredible game. Walkabout Mini Golf, one of the best like experiences I've had in VR. Like, it is just so immersive. I mean, it's there. The games can be made. The games can be super immersive and a lot of fun. But when you don't have first-party support to dig into those IPs that you have,
you got to be excited about it.
No one's going to be excited about your hardware if even you are not excited about your hardware.
Some of the games you're saying, I think some of those are third-party and on other platforms.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Walkabout is on other platforms.
So then if somebody says, well, I want to get one, like, okay, let's see, I don't have a PS5. Do I buy a PS5 and a headset, or do I buy a MetaQuest 2 or 3 and do that? You know what I mean? So there is also competition out there as well, too. But I think this comes down directly to the fact, again, that the some of the lack of software, first party specifically, and price point. And people don't have the expenditures. I've been talking to people for weeks and months now. The taxes season, this tax season has been a really weak one for a lot of folks.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not going to move them. So.
And I think the other part of the problem,
it's a bummer.
The other part of the problem, Tone, is also like just VR in general hasn't really taken. I mean, even the MetaQuest is not exactly lighting the world on fire with its sales. I mean, VR hasn't quite really taken off yet. And I think part of the problem is, dude, with so many VR headsets, you've oversaturated a pretty small market.
Yeah.
So there's too many options.
Yeah.
You know, and there's not enough games on any of the platforms. I mean, yes, there's a lot of PC VR games, but it's just like, I mean, it doesn't have the that's why it's so integral for Sony to be first-party support, have VR games coming from your first party, but they don't want to invest in because, as we know right now, games are fucking expensive, and if no one's buying the headset, who are you making the games for?
And now you've got an industry that's eating itself from the inside out with layoffs and studios and other, crap closing. So there's a lot of things I think at play at this, but I think Sony has to take a big step forward and say we're a big part of that problem too.
Yeah.
So.
They absolutely are, and it's just disappointing, man, because overall, like, I love the experience I've had with PlayStation VR2. Do I play it as much as I would like? No, I don't. I'll be the first to admit. I'm not playing it all the time, but, man, there are times when I'm sitting down here and I'm like, you know what? I haven't played in a minute. Turn it on, play a couple rounds of Walkabout Creek mini golf. I'm just like, this is where I want gaming to go in the future. Obviously, look, it's got a cord on it and this and that, and it's whatever, but at the same time, like, I still get a reminder of just how immersive and how fun VR gaming can be. And I wish Sony would embrace it more, but I also kind of wish other gamers would embrace it, but it's really difficult to get gamers to embrace it when the fucking cost of entry is ridiculous.
Insane.
It's really hard to get people to go out there and buy a $500 system and then ask them to pay $550 for a fucking add-on for an additional experience. It's just, I think AR is more of a future. I mean, I heard AR is I think AR is more or less what the Apple... whatever their fucking $1,300 headset is. I think theirs is like a lot of AR stuff. But, man, I just, like, AR is cool. I think it's great. I mean, it can be pretty immersive. But, man, like, VR is, like, where I want to be. When I can sit there and put my headset on it. And, again, AR is really interesting, and it can be pretty cool. But when I put on a VR headset and I am transported to a fucking world that I am in, that I'm looking around, that I'm completely surrounded by, and I can interact with it with controllers like the PS VR controllers that have the haptics, and if I go reach out and bump into something, I can feel it on my hand. That's the type of fucking experience I want, dude. I want to flip it, dude. I said that's why I feel like VR needs to go if it really wants to get. I mean, full on immersion.
You've seen that Disney thing, right?
Dude, that is fucking wild. Where you can like walk in place and like there's little balls on the pads that'll actually like kind of keep you in place as you're walking. That's where we're going.
It's like the fucking like DDR pads and shit.
Right. Yeah. It's wild, dude. Like I really want that for VR. It's just we're not there yet. But at the same time, because we're not there yet, I don't want people to like lose interest in VR. I don't want VR to I don't want all these publishers and all these creators to be like, we tried. It's just not there. We'll wait another 30 years.
The problem is they gotta have the right funding and they gotta have patience because as
somebody
who knows somebody who's building a VR MMO experience kind of game, it's a lot of fucking work because it's not just like creating a world. You have to create a world where every even piece of air is a box of data.
Right.
So it's very integral. So
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. But I mean, the one best experience I can say and I love all the VR stuff, and Jurassic can attest to this, and it's now no longer available at Disney Springs, but is the Void, when you could pay the $20 and we put on the helmets, the backpacks, and hold a gun, and you're in like Rogue One, Star Wars, and dude, when you're feeling blasters coming from stormtroopers in it, and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
That's wild. so good.
He misses it,
So gnarly.
I feel like, again, it's moments like that where you're just like, fuck, man, I really want this to do well.
I feel like a lot of the people that typically criticize it have no experience with VR.
That
and
is
I've
the
said
case.
since day one on this show that until you put that headset on, you
wanna
don't
hear it.
understand the immersion and what
I don't
want to
hear
like.
it.
Right. Because it's not just about like seeing something in 3D. It's about making you feel like you're actually part of it.
Man. I
And
mean,
that's
you're
what's
in the
exciting
game,
about
dude.
it.
You forget you're playing a game most of the time.
Yeah.
You're like in there, like, dude,
Yeah.
when you're doing that putty golf game, the walkabout mini golf, and just the way when, like, the haptic feedback when you're lining up your shot, and the way, like, dude, there was one time where I was on a hole where I was standing by a ledge that was kind of like a drop off, like down to the ocean below. And I'm sitting there lining up my shot, and I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
kind of panic a little bit,
yeah.
and I move over. But then I light up my shot, and I put it back, and I hit it gently, and you had that haptic where, like, you're making contact with the ball. Like, you feel that contact, and you're just like, that's fucking just incredible, dude. And I mean, again, just an incredible world, and I love VR, and I want it to do well, but Sony and all these other, like, headset creators, I just think they're in a tough spot right now. They don't know how to promote this, they don't know how to sell it.
Yeah, and the problem is
they don't know how to support it.
And well, yeah, that's for sure. And the problem is, again, it's always going to be that price, and you need to make sure it's a value. You want people to get buy-in. You're going to have to take a hit for a while, I think.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what they're going to do. They're going to stop production on this thing. They're going to wait to see if they're able to get the PC support, which I think they're I mean, you don't put that in a blog post that it's something that you're targeting for the end of the year and then just be like, oh, it didn't work out. Like they clearly know that they can get this thing to work, and I think that will
that could rejuvenate
increase
it.
the appeal of it, and then obviously a price cut along the way and make it more in line with the other PC VR headsets. I feel like that's going to be its last. That'll be the last shot for PSVR.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it doesn't work, I am not going to expect
Money
a PSVR 3. I just don't think we'll see that. I think Sony is at that point now where it's like, look, we did well enough with VR 1. We've created a system that can create a great experience in VR 2. Here's VR 2. If it doesn't sell, I just don't think they're going to go for PSVR 3.
Or if they, because the PSVR 2, for all intents and purposes, with the haptics and everything, maybe they just hang on to it even through the next console cycle.
Yeah, I mean, if it's backwards compatible,
Because the PSVR one wasn't.
Right, that's a good point. You know,
So,
well, I mean, we'll see when the PS4 or PS5 Pro, when that ultimately comes out, and if that increases the fidelity and the experience overall, and they can drop the price. I mean, they're gonna have to drop that price considerably because PS5 Pro comes out, that thing's gonna be more expensive than PSVR 2. So you're gonna have to do something to knock that price down, take a hit on it, or whatever you need to do just to get them off the shelves, and then let the software kind of make up for it. But you got to have software from first-party studios. And with the way they're realigning things, I just don't know where they have the teams where they can build that stuff. Right. Especially when you just killed off one of the teams that was responsible for a lot of your VR content.
Right.
Just really weird decisions. But I don't know, man. We'll see. Now, in the next piece of news, boy, talk about weird decisions. We've talked about this movie several times in the past, and you and I have both decided, or still have not decided to watch.
Did you say that right?
Yeah, both of us have decided not to watch Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey, or whatever the hell it is. But, dude, a lot of things have happened since we stopped watching it, or since we decided not to watch it. The Twisted Childhood universe is a thing. The filmmakers behind Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey have unveiled the Poohniverse. Monsters assemble, bringing together Pooh and various other beloved children's characters gone bad. Drastin says, just stop. Brittany, ugh. Jagged Edge Productions and ITN Studios will team with Winnie-the-Pooh with murderous versions of figures including, I didn't realize these were all a thing, man, Bambi, Tinkerbell, Pinocchio, Peter Pan, Tigger, Piglet, the Mad Hatter, and Sleeping Beauty. They're all coming together for an IP bludgeoning frenzy due for release in 2025.
So when I saw that 7 Dungeons, I was like, does that say Poontang? Like, what am I looking at here? I like Poon just like everybody else.
Poohniverse.
The Poohniverse. Jesus H. Christ.
This is what Scott Chambers, the lead for Jagged Edge, had to say. As horror fans, we would love an Avengers that is all villains. It'd have Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, Ghostface, all those. Obviously, that will never happen. But we can make it happen in our own little way, and that's where this film has been born. So many of the and now here's the thing, man. Like right now, the only movie that's ever come out is Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey, and it made like $5 million off like a $50,000 budget. So by all accounts, a success for them. Yeah, an all-out success.
Like 8 Rotten Tomato score.
Right, like really bad. It might have gotten to 8. I don't even know. But so like, there's only been one movie, and now this assembling is supposed to take place next year. So between now and next year, we're supposed to get movies for all these individual characters.
Jesus H. That's
Pinocchio, the Sleeping Beauty, and all this stuff. But we do know that many of the characters are set to appear in the Poohniverse will first feature in standalone films coming this year and falling under the Jagged Edge versions of the MCU, the Twisted Childhood Universe.
You know there's going to be like credit like clips and stuff.
Well, here's the thing.
Right?
The upcoming films will include various Easter eggs linking them toward the upcoming horrifying crossover.
They fucking did it.
So beginning this month, Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 will be releasing in theaters through a Fathom event, mind you, which you are a big Fathom event guy.
Okay.
They'll become Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 comes to theaters on March 26th, 27th, and 28th. And between now and next year, we're going to see movies like the ones behind us. What is this? Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, Bambi, The Reckoning. I mean, wow. There's some some clever shit
double,
going on.
tripling, and quadrupling down, and plus more apparently.
And see, when they all come together, I mean, they mentioned too, like you're not going to just have them all aligned and wreaking havoc on innocent people. I mean, you're going to have inter squad issues, and you're going to have monster versus monster moments as they fight for that hierarchy and all that. So
of course they will.
Who is going to play Poohniverse Nick Fury? That's a great. Wouldn't it be Robbins?
Christopher Robbins.
Christopher Robbins. He's got to be the Nick Fury, I'm assuming.
Oh my fucking God! Please make that be real.
I just, dude, I refuse to watch that first one. I just heard it so bad, and I just felt like that was such a lame cash grab. And we actually, what was the one we just saw recently?
Yeah, I kind of want to see. I do too.
I feel like
I kind of want to watch this bullshit now.
Oh, dude. All right. Well, if you watch it, let me know, and I'll punish
no rush
myself.
to get to it. We got other things in time, but yeah, like. Still.
But we watched a trailer recently of another one of those movies. And I can't remember which one it was. Was it the Mickey Mouse one? Remember the Steamboat Willie?
Steamboat Willie. Yeah, God.
Christopher Robbins dies in the Pooh movie, does he? I don't know. I haven't seen it. Tricky Region's out here just spoiling movies. Now we don't have to watch it. Thanks, Trick.
That's fine.
Mike is my horror expert for reference. He said it's really bad and not in a good way. Man, see, I don't mind if it's bad. If it's so bad, it's good. You know, if it's a bad movie but it's fun to watch, then, count me in.
Sure.
But if it's just clearly a cash grab that fucking sucks, then I'll get pissed and I won't even finish it.
You ain't seen Thanksgiving, have you?
I have it downloaded.
Okay, let's have the battle.
It's not Killer Clowns. Dude, Killer Clowns is that rare, just like all the stars and moon align for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a fucking incredible movie, and no one would be able to tell me otherwise. Is it terrible? Sure. But is it endearing? Is it charming? Does it have its own personality?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And it's a movie that holds up well even today. I haven't watched either, just the trailer. Oh, okay, all right. Trick, I tell you what, if I watch it, you got to watch it. We'll all watch it, and then we'll have a roundtable discussion about Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Winnie-the-Pooh.
But the new one comes out next week. Maybe we skip Godzilla and go see...
No.
This is wild, though, man. I mean, seriously, when this movie came out, the first one, did you expect to find out that we were going to get the Twisted Childhood
universe?
That's just that's incredible. I like this art, though. That's kind of retro looking. I kind of dig that. That's all everyone on there. Pinocchio. You got Pooh on the reindeer, and then up here is somebody, and over there is somebody. I think the Mad Hatter might be behind you somewhere, but they're all there, man. They're all there, and they're all all these movies are gonna be dropping this year. So I mean, who knows like how quick the turnaround? They're just shooting these movies and just putting them out real quick, and people are gonna go eat it up. There's obviously a following. Made $5 million off of $50,000. People fucking love this shit, and I want to get you guys to go thoughts. If you are a fan of Winnie-the-Pooh, Blood and Honey, and you're excited for the Poohniverse,
Yeah, we got to hear about it.
I want to fucking hear about it in the comments below because you're out there somewhere.
Sell me on it.
Sell us on it. Tell us why we need to watch it. Why is it so bad it's good? Tell me how it's somewhere along the same lines as Killer Clowns from Outer Space. If you can make comparisons there and sell to me that it's just as good as that, or if not better, I'll go see it. I'll watch the damn thing. But until then, I got to wait till he watches it because I'm not watching if he doesn't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy, man. The twisted childhood humor. This is a fucking thing, dude. Absolutely
wild times that we live in.
The world we live in is